All right, here we go. I believe that we're feeding through to the folks out there. Let me know how my audio is, if everything sounds loud and clear. You're joining us live on Utreon so we can actually hold guns. That's right. If you're listening to this on audio later, you're listening to the audio podcast, you want to join us live, go to Utreon/Who Moved My Freedom podcast. That's where you can join us. If you're watching this on YouTube, because we put it up on YouTube, we do it here instead because we can actually hold guns. So that's how that goes. Check that out. Man!
Like that
Okay.
volcanic rival action?
Yeah, I feel like I'm just showing like a little Smith and Wesson, and then Tancho. That's badass what you got right there. So we're gonna have some guns. Yeah, look at that. That's a sexy gun right there. I like that. Yep.
That's what you call the volcanic rival, like competition ready right out of the box type thing, and it's got the matching
Sweet.
shield colored red dot. So
Yeah, very nice.
One of my reviews coming up here. I can't wait to get on this.
Absolutely. So we got the next hour to talk about all this. Of course, joining me live here is Todd Elfster of Elfster's Rifles and Reloading and EP Integrations. We're going to talk about all of that as we get into the podcast here. Let me smash the open button and get this going.
Welcome back to the Hank Strange Situation, Lifestyles of the Locked and Loaded.
We wouldn't be able to keep the Who Moved My Freedom podcast going without the support of great companies like Franklin Armory. Franklin Armory provides 100% US-made firearms and awesome binary option triggers. Their focus and purpose is to provide freedom tools to all Americans, especially those in not-so-free states. So when you're in the market, please consider Franklin Armory. All right, boom! We are back here. It's a little crazy and chaotic behind the scenes here, getting set up because we had some technical difficulties. But there you go, Todd Elfster's joining me there. Let's do the jazz hands. I don't know if you remember this or not, Todd. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Jazz hands.
Man, it's been a while. It's definitely been a while, man. I think it's been almost 2 years since I've been on here.
Wow, really? Has it been that long? Okay, well, happy New Year. Welcome back to the show. What are you gonna say?
No, I think the last time I was on here was with Ray with the X-Ring channel, if I remember correctly.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that has been a long time. Let me make sure your name's
been a while.
Popping up there for everyone. Okay, so you guys out there, let us know how the audio is. Like I said, we've got Todd Elfster of EP Integrations and Elfster's Rifles and Reloading joining us. So we are going to talk about some reloading stuff, gun stuff, all that kind of good stuff. Catch up because it's been a while. This is episode 958, by the way, of the Who Moved My Freedom podcast. So there you go, man.
It's my birthday.
And happy birthday to you. What are you? Let's see. What's your sign? If what are we? January 10th or something?
Yeah, I'm 48, man. I think my sign is damn old.
You're a baby. 48. Oh, please.
Yeah. All right.
I think I'm going to be 51 this year. You're a youngster.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Let me give some quick shout outs to everyone out there. 42 Chilled is out there. He's got a lot of new stuff he threw in here. I'll try to go back through that, as well as I see Jade Grew, Shooting Gallery, Annie is out there as well. Shout out to him. I know that I think today I saw that he posted that his TikTok channel was permanently removed. So sorry about that, man. Sorry to hear that. He'll probably explain it to you guys who are out there if you want to know more about that. And as I was saying, Todd is here. We're going to talk about EP integrations as well. So I'm pulling up the website right now. And we're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. But welcome back to the channel, man. Like you said, it's been a while.
I appreciate it, man. It's, come back and talk to a good friend like yourself. It seems like it's been a long, long time since we met up with each other. I think last time it was either SHOT Show or the PSA Media Days event, I think.
Is that the last time we actually saw each other in person?
I think so, man. I'm pretty sure. It seems so long ago, but it seems like just yesterday too. So I don't know. It's so weird.
Oh, okay. You don't go to the gathering that PSA does, right? Oh, because you're
no.
Yeah.
I was going to go, and I have all intentions to go. And matter of fact, I actually talked to Chad here about EP integrations going here. Probably
Mm-hmm.
not this year, but the following year,
Mm-hmm.
and showing off some of our products. So
Okay, so for the folks who don't know who you are, let's do a little refresher for everyone out there. Tell the folks who you are, what you do, everything. You've got a YouTube channel, lots of stuff going on. Fill the folks in.
yeah, sure. So I think I started my YouTube channel, back in 2015. Matter of fact, I think I started out with how to build an annealer. Actually, my most popular video to date. I think it's got about 250,000 views. It's a do-it-yourself annealer, very similar to the annealers that we sell now, but it's not adjustable. And it had a do-it-yourself part list in the video. It showed you how to make it. And it was really popular. People really liked that. It's for $100. You can make your own annealer. Matter of fact, it's still up there. And I leave it up there because you can't even afford our annealer. And but the problem is it was non-adjustable. It could only do roughly about 223 up to 308 parent cartridges, like 6.5 Cremor, 223, 308. But like channel's definitely grown since then, and I would say it's huge. I think I'm pushing about 20,000 subs.
Okay.
But
that's not easy in these times for like gun guys, man. Yeah.
It isn't, man. It isn't. And back in the day, I was actually doing better with 10,000 subs than I'm doing now with 20,000 subs, which is so weird. But whatever. I still keep on pushing the freedom, and I get my gun reviews in there, and obviously I like to teach people how to reload. And as a matter of fact, a lot of times I'm reloading live, so I'm literally got the comment board right up on my screen here at the reloading bench, and people are asking me questions. Hey, man, what do I do here for reloading? And right there live, I can answer their questions. So, and then about a year and a half, almost pushing 2 years ago, my good neighbor and friend right next door to me, we were in the backyard, 11 o'clock, dark in a campfire, and we're drinking beers, and he's a machinist. That's how I knew he had a CNC machine in his garage. And I'm like, hey, man, you want to make annealers? He's like, what the hell's an annealer?
Yeah, that was exactly what I told you when you were telling me about these annealers. I don't even know what that is. We will explain it for you guys coming up, though. Yeah.
Right, and so we're sitting around the campfire drinking beers, and so I showed him the do-it-yourself annealer. Matter of fact, I think I even have it here. The very first annealer that's on that video I did many, many years ago. But it's not adjustable. It's just a fixed drum. We can only do, like I said, roughly 223 to 308. And I'll explain what an annealer does here eventually.
An annealer looks like a record player almost, like a little shrunken down record player from the top.
Yes. Yeah. But I said, hey, man, I want to make these annealers, but I got an idea of how to make them adjustable. And then we kind of melded our ideas together and our wits. And obviously he's a machinist. And we came up with the EP 2.0 annealer, which is trying to figure out this camera angle right here. So, and then just recently, just literally today, we released the updated version that's got an updated case to it. So, but yeah, it's exciting, and it's really exploded. I never thought it would get to this point. We can't make these annealers fast enough, and we also came out with the lockdown reloading blocks for reloading ammunition. It's a special reloading tray that holds your ammunition while you're dropping powder and about to keep those bullets. This is fully adjustable from 223 and just under 223 and up to 375 Chi-Tac. So but yeah, and
how does it holds the shell casing or what?
So what this does is I could try and do this as best as I can live, but this has a middle plate that is adjustable, so it kind of slides back and forth.
Oh, I see. So it could grab it.
Yeah, so we have this is patent pending. We have a patent on this, and it's fully adjustable from 223. I'll try my best to do this with one hand, but you can see I can put my 223 rounds in there, and then I can shut this. So you can see it kind of clamps down on it.
Yeah, then you tighten those screws.
Yep, and then I tighten these screws up. Or if I want to go from 223 to say 375 Shy-Tac. I could put 370 Shy-Tac, and I'll literally adjust in 1 second. And it's a fully adjustable reloading tray. And we sell these, the stainless, not the stainless, but the aluminum version here for $99 on our website.
Oh.
And this is about to come out here soon.
Okay.
Matter of fact, no one's even seen this yet. This is the red, white, and blue Cerakoted. And we also have a black anodized one. So, and just kind of, you know, I guess I'm spilling all the beans here on the
Go for it, man.
But this is the big bore block that no one's even seen. And it's rather than 50, like this one here, this one, and this one will go up to 370 Shy-Tac. This one here will go up to 50 BMG. So, but it only holds 25. So it does the exact same thing, just 25 rather than 50 count. But you're literally talking, you know, 375 Shy-Tac, 50 BMG. So, and just to give you an idea, this is 223. So, you know, it gives you an idea the range that it can do. And it's not only that on the lockdown blocks, but it's also on the kneeler. The kneeler is fully adjustable too, all the way from 17 Hornet to 50 BMG, which is, you're talking one of the smallest cartridges.
So just to pause for a second so that we can, you know, bring some folks up to speed who don't know. I know 42 Chilled here when you were talking about the annealer. He said propane torch. Is that like the old school way that people do annealing? And then explain annealing to us also.
Sure.
Both of those things, yeah.
So let me go over annealing first. So when you resize brass in the reloading process, the brass has a tendency to get work hardened. And what can happen is it'll reduce the longevity of the brass. You'll get split necks easier. And it just doesn't last as long. So in order to increase the longevity of that brass, we'll anneal it. And what annealing does is it obviously helps the length, helps with less split necks. It gives you more consistent headspace bumps, a more consistent neck tension, especially if you're in the precision world, such as PRS or F-class bench rest, you name it. I don't know really any guys that don't reload and don't anneal. I mean, they all anneal that I know of. And what the annealing process does is it helps softens that brass. It gets it back to a recrystallization state of a softer brass, so it doesn't crack on the neck, and you get more firings out of the brass.
Okay, so just from my understanding, right, when you're working with the brass over and over again, just changes in temperatures and forming it and all that. If you're not doing it properly, you can make it brittle, right? So does that is that right or wrong? What I'm saying there?
Right.
Okay.
So there's a couple things actually. What happens when you fire, you pull that trigger, the sear releases, the firing pin comes home on the primer. The primer ignites the powder, and that case literally builds 50,000 plus pounds per square inch, and that brass really expands rapidly and seals off in the chamber. That's why they use brass, because brass is malleable. It expands in the chamber and it seals off super tight. The chamber forces all that gas down the bore and pushes the bullet out the bore. So that's kind of work hardening it, but typically more times than not, when that brass expands in length and width, and when you have to resize it back into spec so you can reload it again, that's called work hardening the brass. Okay. And that's what will ruin its longevity. It will give it its split necks. And then when it comes to reloading it, when you resize it in the resizing die, you're always going for consistent headspace bump. And when we say consistent headspace bump, we're talking down to a thousandths of an inch, two thousandths of an inch headspace bumps. And that helps with that precision reloading.
Okay. It just always amazes me how much actually goes into reloading, right? It's not, from the outside, it may seem like, oh, this is simple. You get the brass, you can shoot it, then you can just do some stuff easily and reload it. But it's a lot more complicated than that, it seems.
Yeah, everything really comes down to the word consistency.
Okay.
And I'm not just talking annealing brass. We're talking about when it comes to resizing the brass, we're consistently bumping literally every piece of headspace on the brass, 1 to 2 thousandths of an inch. Or when I say headspace, I mean the distance from the base of the brass to the midline of the shoulder, or the datum line. That's called the headspace. We're literally bumping that back, at least in our bolt action, usually 2 thousandths of an inch, maybe 3 to 4 thousandths of an inch in an AR. And, not only that, but it's just when you're dropping powder. I mean, I don't know if you could see this or not, but I got like the super trickler here. I don't know if you could see that or not, but the super trickler will literally
Is that white can behind you?
Yeah, it's a lab scale, and it will drop gunpowder. When I say to the very kernel, the literal kernel of powder, and it will drop it, no joke, within 5 to 7 seconds. It is that accurate on literally every single casing.
How?
And then and then it's, seeding bullets to the thousandths of an inch, and it's like I said, it comes back to that word consistency. So.
Okay, cool. So let me just let everyone know that there is a promo code. Lola put it in the chat for EP integrations that Todd's been nice enough to give us, and that promo code is Hank Strange, right? And that saves you 5% if you use the promo code at EP integrations, and it's good from today, the 10th, until the 17th. At EP Integrations for anyone who's out there looking, listening. We'll try to get that in the description and all that kind of stuff. So Lola says, how did Todd get started in reloading? Is there a class? I would say people can look at your channel, obviously, but go for it.
Yeah. The way at least I started was back in Sniper's Hide. I don't know. God, it must have been about 2012, 2011. I was just on the forums there, and I really got sick of listening to people say how their precision rig shot half minute of angle all day long. And I kind of called some people out. I'm like, well, prove it to me. If you say your gun literally shoots a half minute of angle literally all day, why don't you prove it to me? So I started a thread on there that ended up getting pinned. And it was called the 6x5 thread. And this is before, phones were just coming out. People could just start uploading pictures, and there was rules to the game and a leaderboard, and you had to shoot on one target, 6 total 5-shot groups shot in a row. And we had a computer system that would average up your target. And it would literally tell you how accurate you were with you and your rifle, and it kind of exploded there on Sniper's High, and that's where actually my name Elfster comes from, because that was my forum name back then, of Elfster. And but I was just, before that I was just using factory ammunition. I just it's not doing it for me, and I want more accuracy. And I can't stress this enough. Sniper's Hide, they got a section on there on reloading, and it's really extensive in regards to how to reload, what kind of reloading people are using, what load pet loads work best for them, depending on what cartridge they're using. And I just kind of read up on all that information, sucked it in, got some manuals, never really went to a class, and just kind of taught myself. And I got to the point where I felt like I could teach other people. That's where I started my own channel.
Okay. So you were using rifle reloads, or rifle factory ammunition. And all these guys are saying how they were so accurate, and you just didn't get that whole thing. But from that thread, you came to realize that they were reloading their own stuff, and that's why they were getting consistency?
Well, not inconsistent, but just more accurate results. I couldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole. And I'm like, if I'm going to, try and get anywhere to the realm of these guys' accuracy, and then every time I post 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the leaderboard, they all got their own reloads, and it just comes to show that if you want the true accuracy to shine through your firearm, you really need to reload.
So
you really do.
I mean, we've got like 2 minutes here, so this might have to go over to the next section. But just for the people out there who are using factory ammo, break down why that's not as accurate.
Yeah, so especially in inexpensive rifles, they got like a SAMI spec headspace in them, and you're buying factory ammunition, and that it might have an excessive headspace from the chamber to your factory ammunition. And that brass might have to literally expand from the headspace. When I say headspace, that's the distance from the base of the brass to the datum line or the middle of the shoulder. It might have to, no joke, expand damn near 10,000ths of an inch, 8,000ths of an inch. Well, in the precision world, that's not precision. We like to see that more in the 1 to 2,000s range. So it seals off instantly when that gunpowder ignites.
Okay.
We're also seeding the bullet right off the lands, 20,000ths of an inch to damn near touching the lands. Or like I mentioned with that powder drop scale over here, we're literally dropping powder to the literal grain of powder, little speck of powder.
So factory ammo, because it's so inconsistent, right? Or the way that it's loaded in the factory, it has to expand more. And when you load it yourself and you do it the right way, it expands less. So that little time there helps with your accuracy in terms of sealing in the headspace. I know it's a lot. Even I've been shooting for a long time. I like shooting long distance. Trust me, I don't have any clue about it the way you do. So I enjoy picking your brain on it. Is that anywhere close to rational? What I'm saying?
Headspace, like I said, it's everything from the headspace to dropping the powder consistently to consistently seeding the bullet to everything. It all comes down. And it's just not that. It's how you shoot the rifle, how you get up behind the rifle with your cheek weld. It all boils down to that work consistency.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to be right back.
Walther Arms has been making concealed carry handguns for over 90 years, starting with the PPK. Today, Walther is based in the good old US of A and still builds quality firearms like the PPQ and PDP for personal defense and competition. So when you're in the market, please consider Walther Arms. We wouldn't be able to keep the Who Moved My Freedom podcast going without the support of great companies like Walther Arms.
All right, and then let me just take this time right here to remind you guys, if like me, I know nothing, so you guys probably know more than I do. But if you're like me and you want to know more about this, of course you can check out Elfster's Rifles and Reloading on YouTube, and we'll get Todd to give you guys socials and all that kind of stuff, social media, and etc. So we're in the news section. I guess we can start like in your world, man. Is there news? What's the big stuff going on in your world right now? Is it SHOT Show? Is there reloading news that's coming out? What's up?
Yeah, at least for me personally, it's like constantly battling like social media, Facebook, trying to get the word of reloading. And, back in the day for me to just post a link to some primers and powder, it kind of inched its way up, right? I mean, it's like you post a gun and all of a sudden your page got shut down. I'm like, well, okay, they're probably going to be fine with just reloading components, right?
Right.
And then just posting, good deals on reloading components, and everything was fine till about last year. And even now, apparently, people that know nothing about reloading know everything about primers, powder, and bullets. I can't even post that either. So. Yeah, I don't know. It's just constant freaking battle. Obviously, I'm telling you, preaching to the choir. Everything what I'm talking about there. But
yeah, let me just remind everyone we do have the Discord. I can show you guys. There is a Discord. I don't know if the link is already in the description, but Lola can throw in the link or anyone else. Asper Warrior. But there is a Discord, and we could show up stuff. We could, easily, if you guys post stuff in the Discord, I could put it up here and show it and all that. You might have to remind me if you put something there like, hey, Hank, show the Discord or whatever. But Asper Warrior says, I need someone on the Discord to send me a good video on how to re-tap the grip threads in my AR lower. So there you go. That's from Asper Warrior. And if any of you guys have questions, go ahead and ask them here. So, you know what? I think, look, when we talk about people getting kicked off of social media, who holds the record for getting kicked off of Facebook? Is it you?
Because I know Guns and Gear has gotten kicked. I've gotten deleted one time.
I've officially up to four
it.
times that I got kicked off and put back on. Through the help of friends at Facebook, but I don't know, man. It's just not bad. It's the reloading components. Just in the last year, especially going through COVID, went through the roof along with ammunition. That's why I stockpile like I do with powder, brass, primer, and bullets. So in times like this, when factory munition is impossible to get, or even primers, I mean, we're talking a box of primers here just to kind of show you. A box of 1,000 primers, just like right here. There's 1,000 primers in here. And this used to go for $39.99 everywhere, $40, and no joke, these went up to about $150, $160.
Wow.
A pound of powder that would sell for less than $30 easily hit like $80. And for a while there, we had a drought on primers. I mean, you could even get primers regardless of the price. Yeah. And that's the problem is if you can't ignite the powder, you ain't going anywhere with anything. Yeah. So, it was
crazy.
Insane.
Yeah. I mean, I saw a lot of memes for not just ammo, but for people trying to get reloading supplies. And it got crazy there. Is that getting any better right now, you think? Is that?
It is a little bit. It's kind of strange. It actually got better about 3 or 4 months ago, and then we had another dry spell. And the prices are still up there. They're not as bad as they used to be, but still, to get a box of primers, 1,000 of them, what they call a brick of primers, they're still $80 to $100. They're not the $40 that they used to be.
So what's
if you look at factory ammunition, like 9mm, factory is down to the 25s right now, 25 cents, 26 cents. We've even seen some 23 cents around. Yeah. So it's nice to see those factory prices come down, and I think the reloading components will follow through. But I've learned in the last 4 to 5 presidential cycles, man, if you are not stocked up on primers, powder, bullets, and brass, don't come crying when you run out of stock. So
yeah. So there's a couple of things there. I do know, like I was talking to the guys from Fort Scott Munitions, and they said right now they do have 9mm and 223. So I think there's more availability out there for that kind of stuff. But from your point of view, what's the reason for this stuff, right? For the unavailability of all these components? Is it politics? Is it stuff going on around the world? Was it COVID? Like, was it all of that stuff? What was the reason?
I think it was just the perfect storm of everything. It's not just COVID, but I don't know. People are too busy TikTok and don't want to work anymore. I'm just joking, kind of. But I actually work in the build materials world too. I'm an estimator by trade. I stare at blueprints all day long, and I estimate materials for houses from literally the lock set on the door to the post in the basement. And man, I watched sheets of OSB sheathing for house sheathing, no joke, go from $8 a sheet to $60 a sheet, and now we're back down to $11. And everything follows with gas, but it's COVID really put the hurt locker when it came on the components. But like I said, we go through this every time a presidential cycle comes up, and I think just a lot of people start stockpiling. Everyone wipes off the shelves because they know shit's about to hit the fan. And I think it's a combination of that, just trying to find workers. And it only takes, I've learned this the hard way too with our annealer. It only takes one component to shut down the whole process. I might be able to get 98% of it, but if I can't get just this one part, I can't sell the whole thing.
Okay.
And I think that's half the battle too, And I don't know.
That's interesting. So the parts for your annealers, and we'll get deeper into the annealers here. Are they all here in the States, or are there some components that are coming from outside the country?
So every single bit of our annealer here is made in the United States. The case is made in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. The pans we buy from Washington State. The mill products here in the front and are made right down the road here in Durand, Wisconsin, where I live. And some of these products, like the fence and the stopper here, we actually make in our own garage. And obviously, when it comes to electronics and motors, it's pretty hard to not get that from China.
Yeah.
Without literally,
Yeah.
I mean, this would not be the price that it is if we didn't get that from China. I'm just being honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the best. That's just the best place. Even screws and stuff like that. I was talking to a company here in Florida that I do stuff with, and they told me, hey, we make 99% of the stuff here, or 98, whatever it would be, except the screws, right? We cannot make, like, you can't get those screws from America and have them be affordable. I'm not even sure if there's anyone here making them.
Yeah, we just as a reloading block, we make literally everything here other than the stainless steel screws. Those we do get from China, because to keep the price down and keep it affordable from everyone. We, no joke, would have to tack on $10 just for screws. Yeah, it's just crazy, and so we try to do as much as we possibly can. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this. We assemble them right over there. And we used to be my theater room. It's now an assembly area.
That's awesome.
We literally assemble these. And I personally test every single one before they get boxed up. And they're boxed up, ready to ship out. So.
Okay, cool. So what parts were coming from places like China, or what components for reloading were coming from China that you think had anything to do with this whole thing? And then, Well,
nothing really from China, but a lot of your gunpowder actually comes from Australia.
Okay.
If Australia is with COVID, and heck, you can't even barely walk out your front doorstep without the Gestapo running you down, wondering what you're doing.
So the gunpowder is coming from Australia? That's a lot of it.
Yeah, some of it. But yeah, I mean,
okay.
It's numerous places, but I think that's what everyone was battling against. It's just the fact that put such a hurt locker in regards to sourcing out materials. But just like you're making a primer, and it's got several components. Like I said, it only just takes one part of that to shut it down. And that was the big thing, is just primers. You just could not get primers for the longest time. I mean, when I say it, for the damn near a year, people were starving for primers.
Yeah, no one could get them. The ammunition guys, the factory ammunition guys, are having a tough time. It was crazy. So, that's just the way of the world, man. We're so, there's no place that's making everything anymore.
Right, just like a pickup truck. The pickup truck's sitting there because it's waiting for a computer chip. It's just stupid stuff like that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I don't know, it's insane. Like my buddy is waiting for a pickup truck. I'm not exaggerating. 6 months. He paid for it 6 months ago, and I'm like, where the heck is it? He's like, we're waiting for a computer chip. I'm like, dude, just don't buy from there and go down to this other place that has one that has one.
It's not really that easy. I don't know if you have a diesel pickup truck or not, but a friend of mine does have a diesel GMC, right? And I think this is everything that's in that GM line has the same problem from certain years, that there's a chip for the transmission that is known to be faulty, right? This is a known issue. And he has this issue with his diesel truck that he has. That thing has gone. It's not working, and he can't easily get his truck over 30 miles per hour. And there is
my God.
And this has been going on for more than a year for him, and he cannot get a replacement part. He can't get aftermarket or factory replacement part. As a matter of fact, I didn't believe him when he first told me. I was like, this is crazy what you're talking about. This is America. We can get everything. And I looked it up, and I was like, oh, this cannot be done. And then if you look, you'll see there's a whole bunch of people selling these GMC diesel pickup trucks that have the same problem with the transmission. And people don't realize that even if you buy that from that guy, there is no solution right now.
Right.
So that's been going on, and that has not changed.
Yeah, and like I said, with the bill materials, selling the products for that house, garage doors that, no joke, used to take 2-3 weeks tops, more than 6 months. Windows, same deal. You can't finish the house. You're just ready to pull your hair out. And same thing, obviously, happened not only that, but in the reloading world too. So, and we're still kind of suffering from that. It's still pretty. You can get primers on Barnauls They do show up about once every other week.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the primers, some guys like they can't get. But powder right now is pretty easy to get. Matter of fact, some of the tried and true powders like Barget and H4350 that everyone's trying to get their hands on. It does show up from time to time, but it's still ultra rare. And it kind of makes no sense. I mean, like, why? Is that this far into the game? Why is it taking 2 years to get that fixed?
When we create these problems, it takes a long time to fill the orders that got stacked up for that. Even if the factory is back and running, there's a lot of factories that are not getting back and running. And then we're trying to build factories here in America. That has like somewhere between 3 and 6 years for that factory to get up and running, depending on what that factory is, right? So if we're trying to do those things here, but that's crazy. But even if let's say a factory gets back running, there's orders that's in there, and those have to get filled if things don't come back around again. So this whole way that we went about dealing with COVID, that everyone went into hiding and all that kind of stuff, I understand, like, I get it. People died. People we know died, right? People in the gun community died. But we did things that the world is going to suffer for, and it's now that we're starting to realize at the end we have to get immunity from this stuff, because...
Right. And I think it really shows how vulnerable we are. And not trying to make reloads or getting ammunition or firearms, just
everything.
The whole scope, really.
Yeah,
and
everything.
it kind of makes you like, hey man, make sure if you don't know how to reload, learn, and make sure you stockpile on those components, because you're gonna wish to God you did.
Start learning how to make arrowheads, mofos.
Broadheads out of stones, man.
Yeah. It sounds like we're kidding, but it could happen. I might have to learn how to do that. Let's get some comments in. So 42 Chill says inflation is killing us all. Thanks to the president. There you go. And let's see. Dan Hates You says, I can't even get new contact lenses. They're back ordered. I'm gonna have to wear glasses soon. That's true. And then Lola, you guys know Lola's a pharmacist. She says there's lots of drugs that are not easy to get right now. So yeah.
And trying to getting back to I'm not trying to sell my product, but like a good reason to anneal is to get more longevity out of your brass.
Right.
And if you can damn near double the longevity of your brass, maybe get 5 to 10 more firings out of it because you anneal. Especially when you can't get that brass, I mean, you should be annealing regardless if it's for precision or not.
Yeah.
So.
In regards to that diesel thing, 42 Chilled said get a 70s beater. And look, I agree with that. And here's the thing I want to say about that. At the times that we're going into, we're going to wish we had a lot of old stuff. We're going to wish we had a lot of old things without computers and chips in it.
Yeah. Well, I just mentioned my woman. I'm like, we really need to get a fireplace in our house. I mean, I'm in northern Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah.
That heat, just electricity shuts off and it's negative 10 out. We are screwed.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you got to get a fireplace or something. But look, it's true. I think it's true with reloading that so reloading was always a thing. When I came into the gun world, like seriously 10 years ago, reloading was a thing. But at that point, it was not difficult to get the components, right? I think that maybe the diehard reloaders have lived through times where you couldn't get components. But it wasn't difficult to get components. The problem I think that happened at that time is that ammunition got so cheap, remember? That reloading just didn't even make sense. So there weren't as many people getting into reloading. Then ammunition started getting expensive and people were getting back into reloading. But when we got hit with COVID and all the perfect storm, like you said, man, even if you were reloading, you couldn't do it unless you were a guy like yourself that was, stockpiling stuff. So. You know
how many people message me to set up ammunition and I'm like, hey man, I just need some 9mm like a crackhead on crack. I was like, oh my God, I just can't load for you, just ship it to you in the mail. But
we're gonna be, man, it's funny to look at the memes. Have you seen the memes out there for eggs?
Yeah, $5 a carton.
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
Eggs are more. Yeah, Lola told me she was paying. There was some. Okay. first caveat, Lola was trying to get some organic eggs. You know, they have like the orange, like, I guess Lola believes, which I guess is true, that eggs, the yolk is supposed to be orange. But see, I grew up in the hood, so I got used to those yellow yolks, right? I got used to the yellow. So Lola had
perfectly white bleach shells.
Yeah, so Lola had to get these organic. They were like $12, $13. And then she got mad at me because I refused to eat it. The first time she gave it to me, I thought it was cheese. I was like, oh, this. And then she told me, oh no, that's the egg. The egg is orange. You know, Joe Rogan was talking about the. I was like, no, I'm not eating no orange yolks. You know, but then she was so mad. Yeah, yeah. But eggs,
we do the same things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's getting. No, I'm just saying it's so ridiculous in America that there's memes about eggs.
I'm afraid it's not going to stop there.
Yeah, you know. So, oh man, yeah. 42 Chill said he could eat. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. How did I get used to the yellow eggs? I don't know.
You're too old school, man. We're too old.
Yeah. The bleached out, like you said, the bleached out eggs. But yeah, man, it's gonna be tough. You're gonna see more people getting chickens now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, right? We got the neighbors. They all got chickens right down the road. We're kind of on the edge of town.
Okay.
It almost makes us wonder what we're doing wrong, especially when it's $5 a carton.
Yeah. So how do chickens fare out in Wisconsin in the cold, man? Like, do you have to heat the chicken coops or put the chickens in the house? Do they grow fur?
Between the coyotes, I'm not exaggerating. It was negative 40 with wind chill a couple of weeks ago, and you could take water out of the tap, go outside, and throw it up in the air out of your glass, and they wouldn't even hit the ground. Wow. I don't know. They got to have some type of heater in there, I would think, but who knows?
I don't know. Asper Warrior says that's why you got to go to church. All the best egg dealers are at church.
Right.
I believe it.
Yeah, you know you're getting hard up for eggs and you're saving the carton.
Yeah. I mean, we live out in the country, so there's lots of people out here that have eggs and stuff like that. But yeah, we're going through some craziness. We're gonna take a break here. We're gonna come right back with.
We wouldn't be able to keep the Who Moved My Freedom podcast going without the support of great companies like High Point Firearms and Full Forge Gear, bags and gear for everyday life. Did you know High Point is an American family-owned and operated company located in Ohio with over 30 years of manufacturing experience? High Point is proud to be the home of the working man's gun and your source for affordable handguns and carbines with a lifetime warranty. So when you're in the market, please consider High Point.
Yeah, everyone's going to start throwing up the price of eggs in their hood now, like wherever they live. Everyone go ahead and say what your current price of eggs is. It's fine.
We'll work for eggs.
Yeah, we'll work for eggs. So let's see here. Okay, some other news stuff I did want to get to that we didn't get to. So here's Shooting Gallery's post. He says your account is permanently banned. Your account was permanently banned and you are now logged out due to multiple violations of our community guidelines. And then I guess there's an appeal thing, but that's for the that's for the Tickety Talk, which he put a lot of work into TikTok, man. He put a lot of do you know Shooting Gallery New England?
I mean, I've heard of them.
Joe?
I guess
Okay.
I don't know them personally, but I'm not on TikTok. Are you? Or
I was, but I've deleted TikTok, man. I think TikTok is it's a security risk. I don't even know why we have.
Yeah, it's like spyware on steroids.
Yeah,
isn't it?
and then obviously they don't like guns.
Right.
You know, and here's another thing that I've seen. This Mr. Guns and Gear posted, and let me I think I could share this with you guys. I believe that it's out there. But he says he's in YouTube jail. He says I've been hit with strikes on back days and now can't publish videos for a week. If this trend continues, my channel will be deleted on Thursday. We'll see.
Wow.
So, and then he was saying that his videos are on Rumble for anyone who's looking. And I think he also has stuff up on here on Utreon for anyone who's looking. But yeah, that's crazy. That sucks.
Yeah, I see a Demolition Ranch just posted a video. They just took down one of the suppressor videos because it literally showed him screwing a suppressor onto a firearm, and that's why they deleted it.
And they didn't like
so
that?
He came back and made a new video and just made the suppressor more ridiculous. And then when he was putting it on, he kind of blurred it out. So, I don't know. It never ends. It'll never end. It just goes back and forth.
Yeah, Babyface P has been on suspension as well. I think he says he's on suspension until the end of this week. And his videos he got hit on were suppressor videos. However, we had a video deleted, YouTube deleted, that was us. We were shooting bullpup Glocks. And they were 3D printed bullpup Glocks, but we didn't do any 3D printing in the video. So I'm not sure why they took the video down. I think it's because we said this is for Brandon. And you can't say Brandon is a curse word now, but we were talking about Brandon Herrera, because he hates bullpups. So, he's like, oh, we're going to shoot this bullpup Glock for him. So
it's like guys getting their videos deleted for bump stocks, yet a lower court ruling is now said it's totally fine, but they're still going to delete it. So come on.
Yeah, but I think these guys are just making up their own rules, and I know that YouTube is putting out new rules right now, and everyone has to agree to the rules. But they're also demonetizing lots of videos across the board, not just for gun guys, but lots of gamers and stuff like that, because they put out these rules that they don't want you cursing. All kinds of crazy things. 42 Chilled says Mr. Guns and Gear 772K subscribers. That he's got big subscribers. Yeah, he does. And Guns and Gear is a good dude too.
They start coming for you, don't they?
Well, I think, unfortunately they're coming for all of us, and we're not going to get like a viable alternative as content creators to YouTube until everyone gets punished. Because the problem is, like, there's Rumble. We're on Utreon. I think I have a Rumble thing, but I just can't support all these different platforms. I've got to figure out Rumble. I don't even know if they'll just pull everything over, but there's all these different options that you have out there. Well, that diversification is making it tough for any one of them to catch on, right?
Yeah, and you're spreading your content so thin that it's difficult. Yeah. And trust me, I get it with my Facebook page taken down 4 times now. So God, you never ends.
Yeah, it's all crazy. Okay, listen, let's show some guns, man. So what guns do you want to show off, man? I'm sure you got some. I know you had that Canic. You had that Canic right there.
I have one here. Matter of fact, PSA just sent me this one here. So this is
wow.
I just did a review on this. It's a 308, and what makes this one special compared to the other ones? Gosh, I can't figure out this.
You got to go the other way. There you go.
So this one's got a heavy barrel. It's a heavy barrel all the way through. It's not like an A2 style barrel where it kind of dips down in the middle.
Is the barrel fluted or not? I can't tell. I see some streaks on it. Is it fluted?
No, it's not fluted.
Okay.
It's just got a regular bird cage break on it.
Mm-hmm.
But for a 308 AR-10 for less than $900.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's insane, and they're still really cheap. But I actually have a full reloading series on this, start from finish, literally one part doing brass prep, popping primers and resizing the brass and dropping powders, seeding bullets from start to finish, showing you how to do that with this very firearm. And then I go out to the range and shoot it, and you can see the performance. And that's just not on this. You check out my playlist area on my channel. Damn near every firearm that I do a review on it does that. From 6.5 Creedmoor to 223, 6.5 Grendel, you name it. I got numerous start to finish reloading series on there. So if you're a new reloader and you're trying to learn how to reload, I take you through those steps, and a lot of times I'm doing it live, and that's why I'd highly suggest checking out my channel. Make sure you subscribe, and when I do go live, hit that notification also when I go live. And you're trying to learn, you can learn with everyone else, and if you got any questions, you can ask that question right there, and I can help you out as we go, and that's the nice part about doing it live.
Yeah. Do you have an email list that people can sign up for?
I don't, other than
Okay.
EP Integrations, we have an email list.
Mhm.
I think I got another one over here. Let me just snag this one.
Yeah, I would just
But
suggest, like, if people can sign up for an email list, I say do it. To be honest with you, having email lists, especially when they get big, gets expensive. But sign up for the email list, because if they take us down, like, it would be unfortunate to see Mr. Guns and Gear get taken down. But I think the plan
no.
is to take down a lot of us, and if we all get taken down en masse, the easiest way for us to tell you all where to go to is going to be through that email. Obviously, you can also follow us on social media, and that'll help you out too. So I suggest you do that with Elfster's Rifles and Reloading as well. So
Here's another one. This is an old school Ruger precision rifle, but this is a little bit different. I swapped the barrel out of this. This has an aftermarket Krieger, a very high-end precision barrel on it, damn near 1 inch thick. And this has got the Eric Cortina tuner brake on it, which I've yet to tune. That plays with the barrel harmonics to get more precision out of it. But this is in 6.5 Creedmoor, old Gen 1. But once again, I got a full reloading series on that. And here's the target at 100 yards. And, I mean, we're talking some of these powder drop nodes where we're dropping powder at different powder drop rates. This is smaller than a dime. So you can see my fingernail here.
yeah, wow. And that's 3 rounds, huh?
Yeah, it's 3. But I shot this in a row, and if you add up every single one of these, they're all 3-round shots. So we're talking 12 total 3-shot group shot in a row. This averaged 0.4 minutes of angle.
Okay.
Like all of these, you could pretty much cover up with a dime, if not a nickel. And some of these is way smaller than a dime. I mean, you're literally talking a bullet in a bullet hole. And that's where your reloading comes into play. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm testing different powder drop rates. I got running an ELD bullet, 140 grain. And I'm dropping different powder drop nodes, different powder drop rates at 40.7, 41, 41.3, 41.6. I'm playing with the barrel harmonics to see what works best. And obviously the 41 works best. It's really a bullet hole. And the second runner-up would be the SMK here, 142 grain. And literally all these can get covered up with a dime. And this one is just, once again, another bullet in a bullet hole. And that's what I'm doing. I'm playing around with the barrel harmonics on that firearm. Nice. And then when I get done doing that, I start playing around with the Eric Cortina tuner brake that makes it even smaller. And then I start playing around with bullet seating depths that makes I keep on honing it down.
Okay.
And literally it's a bullet in a bullet hole at 100 yards. And if you're shooting 1,000 yards and that, if you can't group at least 1 inch at 100 yards, you might as well not even show up at the range at 1,000. Because that 1 inch group is going to be a 10-inch group at 1,000. Well, if it's a 2-inch group at 100 yards, it's going to be 20 inches. So, you know, if you're trying to shoot a one-on-one target, you're not even going to hit it. So that's where the precision game really comes into play, and that's why you should be reloading if you're trying to squeeze out all that precision and accuracy out of your firearm. So
absolutely. So what do you think is the best round? What do you think is the best long distance? For long distance, what do you say is the
It depends on the purpose. So for the PRS guys, they want low recoil. They want to see where that bullet impacts, because more times than not, they miss on the first shot, make the correction on the second. So usually those guys are shooting ultra lightweight bullets, something like a 6, usually start with a 6 Creedmoor, 6 GT, 6 DR. So 0.2, you know, the 243 realm, if you're familiar with the 243, it's very, very similar to that, but a little bit different casing on it between the different flavors. And they're not shooting 6.5 Creedmoors. They're not shooting 308s. They're not shooting 338 Lapuas. They purposely are trying to get a lightweight bullet that has very little to no recoil, and just to add above and beyond that, they're shooting a gun that's well north of 20 pounds, and they want no recoil whatsoever. They want to see that bullet splash, and if they have to make the correction, they can.
Okay.
And the other realm, if you're shooting like F class, You might be shooting a 284 Shaheen or something. Or if you're shooting extreme long distances, it might be a 416 Barrett. It just really depends on the purpose of what you're doing.
So let's say that because I think so there's obviously the folks who are just doing, your precision rifle shooting and your competition stuff. Let's say you're just a guy who wants to be able to hunt. You want to get a nice practical hunting rifle, right? What would you suggest that won't get just crazy expensive for folks out there to do that you feel you've had the best experience with?
Well, if it was about 5 or 7 years ago prior, and if you didn't reload, or if you wanted the option of say, hey, I want to reload, but I also want to buy factory ammunition, I'd probably say a 308. But the 6.5 Creedmoor has really gotten to the point where you can find damn near 6.5 Creedmoor just as well as 308. And the ballistics of 6.5 Creedmoor is by far more superior than 308. And when it comes to the reloading of the two, it really costs the same, regardless if it's 308 or 6.5 Creedmoor. At least now, it's pretty much the same price. So the only reason why I got a 308 in the AR-10 is because I can buy Lake City brass that's once fired from a military something for next to nothing. And that's literally the only reason why I have a 308. If you want to kind of dip into reloading a little bit, but still have the ability to buy factory ammunition, but might want to test the waters of the PRS realm, you might want to look at something like a 6 Creedmoor. The 6 Creedmoor literally shoots the same bullet as a 243. It's just the casing's a little bit different on it. And you can definitely show up to the shooting line for PRS with the 6 Creedmoor. Those guys are shooting 6 Creedmoor, 6 BR, 6 GT, those 6 millimeter bullet flavors, and it's very low recoil, but you can definitely put down a white-tailed deer, right? If it's shooting the same bullet as a 243, and that's probably one of the most popular rifles in the deer hunting realm, you can definitely show up at your tree stand with a 6 Creedmoor, and you can buy the ammo off the shelf if you can't reload for it. You can definitely, obviously, reload for it if you want to jump in the PRS realm, and maybe eventually. That's a really good cartridge. But when it comes, So.
No, I was gonna say 42 Chilled says 3.7 Shy-Tac. What do you think about that? I know I've shot that in the past.
So 375 Shy-Tac, you're trying to get into the ELR round, the extreme long range round. Those guys are shooting 2,000 plus yards. I'm not saying they don't use 375 Shy-Tac when it comes to that situation, but those guys are definitely using that, but they're starting to push like the 416 and 416 Barrett. They're really going even past that, up to almost 4 miles nowadays, which is insane.
Wow. Okay.
It's amazing what some of these guys are doing nowadays, just to shoot those distances. And when you shoot and you got to wait 20 seconds for it to impact the target, I mean, really everything comes into play. So
yeah. So you're saying, like, if you're hunting and you want to go for something more affordable, you're saying 6.5 or 6 millimeter Creedmoor or something like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if you're not fully committed and want to buy it right off the shelf, you have that option. And you can buy that factory ammunition off the shelf. Keep that brass. That brass is like gold. Tells you everything about how it fire forms, how much you got to bump back the headspace, and you can reload that brass, obviously. And you can typically have a bolt action. You can easily get 10 reloads out of that brass. Especially now, in brass for 6.5 Creedmoor is pretty hard to get if you're not buying factory and reusing it.
Yeah.
And once again, I keep on saying this: if you want to get the full potential out of your firearm, you really need to reload, and not only that, but you need to reload for that particular rifle. So.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because I know, some of obviously the problems of consistency, right, with factory ammo. So what are your ways that you suggest to eliminate that? And I'll give you, for example, like, I know there's some guys that will try to get the same lot of ammo and all that. I don't know how you can't really do that, I think, just going to a store, right? Or what's your opinions of that? Outside, obviously, the best thing to do here is reload. But if you're not reloading, what's the best way to do that?
There's a lot of guys in the PRS world too that don't reload and they want to
Mm-hmm.
stick with just factory ammo and a particular type of factory ammo.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, yes, they when they go to a different lot, they'll buy it in big bulk packages, and then they might tune it out with a tuner or maybe not. But the same thing goes with the reloading. You can get a big batch of bullets,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll shoot amazing, and then you'll get a different lot number, and all of a sudden your groups, they don't go to hell, but they're just not shooting as well. And you kind of have to what's called do load development on that particular bullet, dropping different powder drop rates, maybe playing around with a tuner on the muzzle, playing around with different seating depths on the bullet itself to get that new lot of bullets back into tune, and so they're shooting well again. There's the guys will wait, they'll sort out bullets. I've seen guys sort out their brass, especially in the tip of the spear of the F-class and bench press rifle world. Some of those guys are doing all that. But those with factory ammunition, they do make good factory ammunition, don't get me wrong. But like I said, if you really want to squeeze out every ounce of precision, you really need to be reloading. And not only that, but doing load development for that particular rifle. Because I can buy 10 of the same rifle right off the shelf at Cabela's, all the same, 1, 2, 3 serial numbers, and they'll all shoot completely different because the bores of those firearms are like fingerprints. I've seen it. I've shot them and done load development on numerous of the rifles of the same brand, and they'll completely shoot differently. And you just have to do. So one might prefer a particular bullet over the next. Might have to drop different powder drop rates to play around with the barrel harmonics, and if I got into that, it'd be a whole other hour special.
Yeah.
But it's really testing it in the reloading world, especially if you're at the tip of the spear of F-class bench press rifle and PRS. So.
Yeah, so if you're just looking at guys doing that on YouTube or whatever, and you think you could just go buy that stuff, buy that stuff out of the box, you probably get frustrated because there's a lot of different things going into what you're doing here, right? That's what you're saying?
Right. And it's, don't get me wrong, a lot of guys use factory ammunition, but they stick with that particular a type of cartridge from XYZ manufacturer, and they're buying in big bulk packages, especially when it comes to the 22 LR competition realm. Those guys, obviously it's pretty hard to reload for 22, so they buy them huge bulk packages. They find a particular 22 LR cartridge that shoots well with their 22 competition rifle, and they stick with that, and usually they'll buy it in a big bulk pack so they know the trajectory of that particular type of ammunition out of their particular firearm.
Okay, awesome. All right, so we've got Todd here from Elfster's Rifles and Reloading. We're going to take a quick break and be right back.
With Armslist, you can shop the extensive list of local and nationwide firearms classified, now with more confidence because of their built-in firewall. For only $6.99 a month for personal use, or $30 a month for business vendors, so when you're in the market, please consider Armslist. We wouldn't be able to keep the Who Moved My Freedom podcast going without the support of great companies like Armslist.
This is gonna be tongue in cheek, man. This particular, I don't know if you could see any of these comments coming in, but Asper Warrior says best round for self-defense at 600 yards. Go for it.
Behind a tree where they can't see you. They can't see your muzzle, your flash of your muzzle.
Yeah.
I think you're more like in your house with a pistol, right?
Yeah. Okay, so with all seriousness, so self-defense, when you're reloading and everything, are you doing this for self-defense, or is this just for long-range shooting, hunting? What are you reloading for? Do you reload 9 and all that?
Well, you can see I got 2 different presses here.
Mm-hmm.
This one here is the Forster coax press. This is typically used for precision rifle ammunition. This over here is the first press I got, kind of started out with. This is a Hornady lock and load. If I would suggest someone to get a progressive press, I'd probably recommend getting something more like a Dillon, like a 750 XL or something. But this It's got different stages in it. I put different dies in here. This is typically used for pistol ammunition. This is your factory. Every time you pull the handle, it spits out a finished cartridge. I put one empty casing in here, and it goes to the next stage and seats a primer, goes to the next stage, bells out the case mouth opening. Next stage here drops the powder. Next stage here, you're seating the bullet. Next stage here, it's crimping the bullet, and then it gets spat out into this, and it's a finished cartridge. And you typically don't want a progressive press like this when it comes to pistol ammunition. That's around the Hornady lock and load press is just what I start out with. I still keep this around for that specific purpose of pistol ammunition and also decapping brass for my rifle rounds. But when it comes to the precision world, it's all about concentricity, consistency, and usually you're using a single stage press. It's really hard to beat for the money, the Forster coax press. You can easily get these with promo code off of Barnauls for about $350. If I was to give you another suggestion, it would probably be the Area 419, the Zero press, if you want probably the best of the best of what's going on right now.
Okay.
And it's pick your flavor. It's just like firearms. You can get different presses, you name it.
Yeah.
And it's just like powder drop scales. I got numerous powder drop scales.
Yeah. So let's say, well, there's a couple of things here. So you're reloading 9mm for defensive purposes, right?
Oh, I do 9mm, 40 Smith & Wesson, 45 ACP.
Mm-hmm.
But I know a lot of guys always talk about the 10mm. You got to have the 10mm. Well, I wouldn't buy a 10mm unless you reload. You're going to be paying out the nose.
You're not gonna get the new High Point, man. Well, you can get the new High Point because you reload, right? Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And whatever. But it just depends on how deep the rabbit hole you want to get. And I've always said this when it comes to reloading. It's all about purpose and what you're doing and what your intentions are. When I first started, I was learning and I got crazy extreme with it, and I went down numerous rabbit holes of literally weighing bullets and literally weighing brass and doing volume tests of brass. And oh gosh, it got to the point where I felt like I wasn't even shoeing my firearms anymore. I was just doing load development, and I kind of got back to square one. And I do load development, obviously what I'm doing here to find the utmost accuracy out of this. So it's literally shooting a bullet in a bullet hole. But I just don't go crazy stupid on this stuff anymore. Especially with the amount of time I have with these integrations of my channel, my full-time job.
So you're not doing anything crazy for reloading 9mm stuff for defensive purposes, right?
No, and you can buy different bullet flavors, and I can kind of point up here. Okay. This is nothing but bullets up here. Bullets galore, from 6.5 Creedmoor to 6 Creedmoor to 223. Each one of these little boxes is 100. Each one of these boxes over here is 500. Okay. Up here is my bullets for 9mm, 40 Smith & Wesson, 45 ACP. I got gunpowder over there, those 8-pound jugs. And even down here, this is nothing but primers and bullets. I mean, we're talking primers and powder galore. Probably some people are salivating over it now, but just, like I said, if you're not stockpiling, man, you're doing yourself a
Be jealous. Okay, Lola says when ammo gets scarce and expensive, some new boutique ammo brands came out. Is there a certification process?
Well, everyone's trying to develop the Wildcat. It's like everyone's trying to be original. And once again, it's just usually these guys at the tip of the spear. They're trying to get the cutting edge. They're trying to beat the guy next to them. And if they could come out the latest and greatest, or 7mm PRC or whatnot, they keep on pushing the realms of the ballistics of what these cartridges can do. It's just pick your flavor. I don't see so much of it on the pistol side, but it's more on the rifle side. Yeah. Especially when it comes to competition, because with like PRC alone, these guys probably first started out with 6.5 Creedmoors, and they learned that had too much recoil, so they dropped down to 243. Mm-hmm. And then that wasn't enough, so the 243 improved, and then they went to 6 Creedmoor, and then they started doing Wildcats like 6 GT. I mean, you name it. The old tried and true 6 BR too, and they still use all of those. They're all using the same thing, and it's just trying to get that little edge on their competitor to win that competition. So.
Yeah, I'm still catching on to 6.5 Creedmoor, so that's fine for me. 308, 6.5 Creedmoor is all good as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, yeah. But no one's showing up at a PRS match with a 6.5 Creedmoor. They're 6mm bullet flavors typically. Mm-hmm. It just depends on what you're doing. It really does.
And then for me, like when it comes to pistol stuff, man, I'm not really a huge 10mm fan, although I've got 10mm stuff. I know that's gotten popular. I prefer 5.7 to be honest with you, and that's not super new or anything.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. I would love to have that new PSA 5.7. It's just cost so damn much to buy factory ammunition from it for it, and the only reason why I'd ever own one of those is because I would be able to reload for it. Like, no joke.
Have you done any 5.7 reloading yet?
I haven't. I just never owned one. I'd like to own one.
Mm-hmm. There's so many guns out now. Ruger has one. Well, FN has one. Ruger has one. PSA. Who else put out a 5.7? I know I'm missing someone did a 5.7. Someone else. I know for FN, Ruger, PSA. Who else? Someone will tell me out there that's doing it. So I like it. Personally.
Yeah. It just costs so much to shoot the damn thing. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
especially for a while there, you couldn't even get the ammo.
Yeah, that's true. So. Yeah, I know there's no patent or whatever it is on it anymore, so there's a bunch of different places making it. And I'm hoping that PSA actually gets into making a 5.7 round. All that stuff is going to help make it better. I know that the Fort Scott Munitions guys told me that they're doing a 5.7 round. So I haven't actually... I've seen pictures of it, but I haven't actually gotten my hands on it yet. So we'll see.
I would bet money, Chad, at PSA, they're now that they're making that AAC branded ammo, that's owned by not PSA, but the parent company of PSA, whatever.
JJE.
I'd be amazed if they're not. Yep.
Yeah. So. Gen Champ Jr. says, what's this? 6.17mm Grendel XL Super Carry. That's what's up. Okay, is that a thing? Is that even Is that even real? It's not real. So you know what?
Well, 6.5 Grendel is real, I suppose.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So here, listen. The gun that I showed, we could still show off some more guns. The handgun that I was showing in the beginning of this. Check this out. This is my. Let me see if I can get it to focus. Smith & Wesson M&P 22. So it's a M&P 22. And it has a threaded barrel on it, so you can actually, let me see, I threw all my focus off here. So let's see if we can get it to refocus. There we go. So it's got a suppressor on it. This is a PTP suppressor, which somewhere on it has the Hank Strange. See that? I don't know if people can even see it here. Let's see. I got to cover my eyes to get this thing to focus, maybe. Maybe not. Maybe. Okay, I know how to do this. I can show you guys with... I'll go to my phone. That's the best way to show it. I go to the camera on my phone. All right, boom. Here we go. All right, let's switch over to this. Here we go. So check that out. Look, there's the Hank Strange logo on there.
Yeah, that's sexy.
Yeah, that's the old school Hank Strange logo too. You know, my original skull and crossbones logo on it. So this is my little squirrel gun right here. You know, if I get mad and I just want to pop the squirrels, like run outside like an old dude and pop some shots at squirrels or whatever, I use this M&P 22 with a little suppressor on it.
Get some subsoft ammo for that thing.
So that's exactly what I put in. Yeah. But even with regular 22 and a suppressor, man, it's super quiet.
Oh, it's insane. Matter of fact, I got a video with a Ruger precision rifle, especially if it's a bolt action. When the bolt is sealed, it's not like a semi-automatic where some of that gas can escape and make some more noise. Man, that bolt action with a can on it, all you hear is a firing pin. I mean, it is insane.
Yeah. I think 42 Chilled is saying CMMG has the Banshee MK4 AR pistol, the semi-auto 5.7. Yeah, there's a couple of those out there actually.
Yeah.
I think I don't know if I put that up. I know I did shoot a bunch of 5.7 guns, and I might not have put up that video yet. I need to edit it and get it up there because, we've got the Rock, we've got, what is it? We had the Rock, the Ruger, and the FN in that video, I think.
Yeah, I think if I was to get one, it'd be the PSA 5.7. It's hard to beat for the money.
It is, yeah.
I just have to get into reloading for it. That's about it. Just
right.
One more thing for you to do.
Yeah, another round for you to reload out there. So yeah.
Right.
Okay, cool. What was that? Show us that Canic again that you were showing in the beginning, man. I want to see that.
Yeah, so this is a Canic Rival. So this is kind of a
good.
competition
Yeah.
ready pistol, ready to rock and roll, right out of the box.
Yeah.
I mean, the trigger on this thing is unbelievable, but it's got a nice flared magwell on it.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually take this off if you don't want it on there. It's got an extended mag release button on there, so that's kind of nice. But it's got some nice serrations on the front and the back. But it's just got a really nice grip. I mean, for competition shooting, and which I don't do for pistol, but I'd like to get into it. And this is for the money. I think it's really hard to beat. If I remember correctly, I think these are going for a little over 600, if I remember correctly.
Okay. And they're available. You're saying you can actually go somewhere and buy them.
Oh yeah,
okay.
So that is very easy right now. At first they were kind of hard to get, but Shield sent me their what is called the RMSX, the 4 MOA red dot for this.
Nice.
It's got the matching accent colors on it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, that gun looks good. That gray and gold is a nice combo for everyone listening.
Oh, and look how wide that view is.
Yeah,
that's
a nice big piece of glass too. Let me see if we can see the dot. There, okay, I can see the dot. Yeah, go left, right there, right there, right there. Okay, there you go. Yeah, you can kind of see the dot bouncing around in there.
Yeah, this is so hard. I can't express how hard this is.
No, we're good. You're good.
Notch in here.
Yeah.
So you can kind of line this up if you can't get that dot or the dot.
Oh, cool.
Size.
Yeah.
But I mean. Here, I'll give you an example how big this. Here's a typical red dot. Look at the size difference.
Yeah, that's really super wide.
I mean, night and day difference on how wide it is, and that's what those competition guys want. They don't want to be hunting for that thing.
Yeah, it's like high definition in 4K.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So I've got to shoot this. I'm about to do a video review on it, so I'm excited about it, and especially with this Shield micro dot.
Yeah.
It's specifically designed and colored for the accents for that particular pistol. So.
No, that's a very nice pistol, man. That looks great. I can see that already. That looks like the thumbnail for this video. Gen Champ Jr. says, "Ooh, that's a purty Canic."
Yeah, and the trigger on it is unbelievable for a pistol of that price range. It's unbelievable.
So what do you say your use case is for a Canic? Is it like a fun gun, sporting gun, self-defense, all of the above? How do you look at Canics?
I've used that in competition. I mean, like I said, I've never done any pistol comps before, but I've definitely seen guys use that. But I think, just a fun gun going out to the range. If you want something with a really good trigger right out of the box, I think that would be really hard to beat. And the reset on this thing is unbelievable. I mean, right there. I mean, it's barely. If I can.
Yeah,
that was the reset.
It's just a little click. I like a nice positive click. Yeah.
It is unbelievable, and it is just a buttery smooth trigger.
Very nice. What kind of other pistols are you into, man? So other than Canic, what do you like? What do you carry for self-defense, for example?
Well, I know we went and swapped that PSA dagger around. It spurred me on to get my own. So I ended up getting what they call the Swagger dagger that has a suppressor height sight, the arm arc cut, the threaded barrel. I hooked up with that. I also got the Holosun. I can't remember the model number, but it's got the 250 minute of angle circle with a upside down chevron. So if you're out of alignment, that circle kind of steers you towards that upside down chevron. I also have, for my concealed carry, I have a P365. That's my typical daily concealed carry. I have a P320. I also have a Mark IV 22, and I have a Ruger SR 1911.
Okay.
I'm sure I'm missing some other ones. So yeah, everyone thinks rifles are reloading. It's nothing but rifles, but I do definitely have some pistols. So
Yeah.
I know I'm missing some other ones there, but those are the ones that off the top of my head, I do actually shoot pistols, and obviously reload for all of them too. So I used to have some 40 Smith & Wessons. I sold all those. I just have nothing but 9mm and 45 ACPs now. So.
Oh, okay. So you used to be a 40 guy. You got out of the 40 game?
Yeah, I just enjoy 9mm. Just cheaper to shoot. The reason why I have dies to reload 45 ACP is because I kind of have a nostalgic history with my 1911. I enjoy shooting it. But I just sold my 40 Smith & Wessons. I just shoot 9mm now. It's just less recoil, easier to kind of run and gun with it, and obviously more inexpensive to shoot. So yeah, a little less powder, a little less price on the bullets. The brass is so easy to find. I mean, just this tub alone right here is full of 9mm brass. I don't know if you can see this or not, but literally thousands and thousands of. I mean, I could pull bag after bag of 9mm brass ready to load here out of this bin here. I mean, literally thousands and thousands of rounds of 9mm.
Yeah, I think the popularity of 40 cal is regional in a lot of cases. Like Jen Champ Jr. says, love 40 cal, get a lot of flack for it, but whatever. I think there's some places where it's really easy to get 40 cal, and then some places where it's difficult. So you'll notice when ammo gets tough to find, you can get 40 cal. Like let's say, for example, here in Florida where I live, you can get it easily. It's 9mm you can't get. But then in some places up north, you know, let's say like around Delaware or whatever, 40 cal is tough to get. Everyone's got 9mm, you know, or you can easily get 9mm. I think a lot of that's changing because there are a lot of people just going to 9mm instead. So maybe that's balancing out. But I think in a lot of cases, it's a regional type of thing. So, And I'm not going to knock anyone for what they have either, man. I don't want to get shot by a 9, 40, a 22.
Yeah. You know, and I think I wouldn't say everyone's drifted away from the 40 Smith & Wesson and kind of moved towards 9mm. And usually, you know, it's all about the self-defense round of 10mm. Like I said, if you're not reloading for it, you better get ready to pay for it. So.
Yeah. When we come back from the break, I want to get into the whole, like, I want to talk to you since we have you on and we haven't had you here in a while. I want to talk about, like, what exactly does it cost to get into reloading, you know, and we'll probably set up a scenario or something, but we'll get into that. And I'll invite you guys who are out there as well to give us questions that you want to ask, and we'll take those questions. We'll try to answer them in whatever time we have. But right now, we're about to take a quick break here, so we'll see you guys in a couple of seconds. We'll be back.
We wouldn't be able to keep the Who Moved My Freedom podcast going without the support of a DAO, or decentralized autonomous organization like TUSC Crypto. TUSC cryptocurrency is a firearm-friendly e-commerce option for online payment transactions, secured on the blockchain. So when you're in the crypto market, please consider TUSC, TUSC.
All right, so here's what I think we should do, Todd. We should probably set it up, that question, set it up practically, right? So let's see what's practical. So we would probably suggest everyone out there. Let's say we're saying, you know, you get you're getting into this. You get a 9mm Glock and you have a 223 AR, right? And you said, hey, if you're gonna have this, you need to reload for it. So what do you need to have in order to start reloading that 9mm and that 223? What do you think it's going to cost on average to do that?
I guess it really depends on how serious you want to get into it. I've always said this, and I'll say it again: don't buy a kit. I've had too many friends, even myself. You start with a kit, and as you learn, you progress. You realize what is working for you, what's not working for you, what makes things slow, what makes things fast, and you end up throwing away so much of that kit that I always recommend parting out your setup. I mean, right out of the gate, you're gonna need a press. If you're going to reload pistol, you're most likely going to want a progressive press. Something like this, where every time you pull the handle, it spits out a cartridge. It just makes it quick and easy. Like a Hornady lock and load press like this. Last time I checked, when prices weren't outrageous, they were about $400. I would recommend, if you could afford it, get something like a Dillon 750 or even better. If you really want something like an ammo plant, you're going to be looking at a Dillon 1050 or something. In the rifle world, you're going to want something more like this, a single stage press for precision work. This is about $350, but that's just for the press. And there's
you can't use the same press for rifle like 223 and 9mm.
Yes, and there's a lot of guys that do use progressive press for rifle. Matter of fact, for precision. There's even guys that only have a single stage press, but they will use this for pistol. But you literally have to put one casing in here, pull the handle, take it out, and just seat primers. And then you got to come back and drop powder. And then you got to come back and seat the bullet. Where over here I can set up 5 different dies. Some have more than 5. And literally, every time I pull this shell plate rotates. Each stage is doing something a little bit different. So every time I pull this handle, one finished cartridge is being spat out of the press itself.
Okay.
If you're competition shooting, those guys have got some type of progressive press of some sort. So progressive press, single stage press.
Okay, so you need a press. So so what are we looking at? Like $400 on the press?
You can go anywhere from the 150, 200 all the way up to like a zero press for rifle precision, which is 1,300.
Okay.
Some of these presses even go north of that, but if you get a decent press, especially for pistol, like this Hornady lock and load, I think for promo code off Barnauls right now, these are going for roughly $400 to $500 if I remember correctly.
Okay, so let's say that's $500. Okay, so what's the next thing you need?
So next thing is dies. So for rifle reloading, you're going to need a decapper. You don't need this so much for pistols. Usually when it comes to pistols, you're going to want something like a die set. So something like a 9mm a Lee die set like this would work great. So you're, off the top of my head, roughly about $60, $70 for a die set.
Okay, and so, you need a die set, and what else do you need to do this?
Man, it just really depends if you're doing rifle or pistol. But when it comes to the pistol world,
so for us, we'll need 2 sets of dies then. So we got the 9mm. What about the 223 die?
Yeah, you're gonna have to buy a whole different die set for 223, which I have die sets for every cartridge I reload for in here, from 6.5 Creedmoor, 243, 223, you name it, 9mm, blah blah blah. There's a different die set for each one, and it depends if you get an entry level or Cadillac Redding dies or entry level Lee. They can range anywhere from $60 to well over $300.
Oh wow!
It depends on what you're looking at. So
per
dice.
All right, so let's say we'll add $100 for that. We're already close to like $700 here. Okay, so we got the press and 2 sets of dies.
Yeah,
right?
And
2
then
die
there's
sets.
dropping powder. Once again, it depends if you're doing rifle or pistol. If you're doing rifle and you want something precision, like ultra precision. Matter of fact, I just did the video series on the Super Trickler here. This Super Trickler with the FX120i is no joke. $1,400 for this, but it will drop. It will drop powder. I'm not exaggerating. 1 speck of this powder within 4 to 7 seconds.
Okay, but
This Charge Master over here,
okay,
kind of an entry level. This it could not drop as fast and not as precise, but this might be roughly $300.
Okay, 300.
So
okay,
yeah.
All right.
So $300 for
Yeah.
dropping powder. But
Right.
you know, a lot of these, especially on progressive press, they have a powder drop. That powder drops the powder for you.
Okay.
So once again, if you have it like this, it's dropping the powder for you for pistol, because you're not so concerned about the accuracy of that cartridge. You know, you're not dropping literally through the speck of powder like a rifle for shooting 1,000 yards. You're just shooting minute of man at 25. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But once again, it's just all about purpose and what you're doing. But if you have a single stage like this, it doesn't have a powder drop. You might have to manually drop your powder if it comes to pistol, which some guys do, but it's pretty rare.
Yeah. So for everything we're saying here is just for caveats. I'm just trying to walk folks, through the process. So after that, what else do you need now? Are we now looking?
You need something to clean your brass. So something like a tumbler here. So I would recommend something like a stainless steel wash tumble like this for cleaning your brass. Don't quote me on this, but off the top of my memory, I want to say this is roughly $200.
Okay.
You need something to dry your brass. I always recommend the Lyman Cyclone case dryer for drying brass. That's if you're wet tumbling and not dry tumbling. You know, this is about another $150.
Okay.
And then, you know, there's all the little knick-knack things, especially if you're in the precision world. If you're annealing brass, obviously our annealer is roughly 260, but you don't usually anneal this for pistol.
Okay, so
for rifle.
So for pistol, you won't need the annealer, but if you're doing that 223, do you absolutely need an annealer, or is there like a way around it? What do you?
Well, it's all about purpose once again. If you're getting the most precision, you're in your competition, you're definitely going to want to anneal. There's also benefits of annealing just to get the longevity of the brass. So once again, hard to find brass, you might want to anneal, just even if you're not in precision, just get more firings out of the brass. I always recommend annealing, but it's not totally necessary.
Okay, so an annealer, you know, let's say you're using the Hank Strange code or something, you're getting it from, EP Integrations. What's that costing us here?
It's $268.
Okay, so let's say 270, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, cool. And by the way, Lola's saying that anyone could use code STRANGE10 to get 10% off of anything over $150 at Barnauls. And we do have a code from EP Integrations. It's Hank Strange, and that will save you 5%. I'll be sharing that out on stuff. Okay, so Todd, we are forgetting bullets, right? And I think
I was just about to get to that. We were talking components.
Right.
You can't really do much reloading without components, and that was one of the hard things. A lot of new reloaders they're trying to get them reloading, but they can't reload because they can't get the components. Well, just right out of the gate, a pound of powder that used to be pre-COVID roughly $30 is now probably $60 to $70, depending on what you pick.
Okay.
The more you can buy, they sell them in 1 pound and 8 pound jugs. If you buy the 8 pound jugs, it usually will save you money per pound. So this is a rule of thumb. There is they usually go by grain weight when you're dropping powder. Like for example, a 308 might take 43 grains of barget powder. Well, there's 7,000 grains in 1 pound of powder, and say like you're dropping 308, and you know each cartridge takes 43 grains. You can take 7,000 grains of 1 pound and divide it by 43, and that's how many rounds you're going to get out of that pound of powder.
Okay. So on average for the powder, what are we going to spend for those two? What are we going to spend for powder? Let's say for 9mm and 223. Let's say
for pistol is a whole different ball of wax.
Yeah,
you're only talking five grains of powder. So if you take 1 pound of powder, 7,000 grains, and you might only drop a little over 5 grains. You take 7,000, divide it by 5. That's how many drops you're going to get out of that pound of powder. Once you figure out the amount of drops you get out of that pound of powder, you can divide that by the price, and that's how much it's costing per drop.
So yeah, it does. So like on powder alone, we're spending like $100 maybe. You know, I know this probably has to do with how many rounds you want to reload, right? Like,
yeah, it just depends on how much you're reloading, you know. But you can easily figure that out with that rule: 7,000 grains and a pound of powder. For example, 308 takes 43 grains roughly. 223 might take 23 grains. A pistol cartridge like 9mm might only take 5 grains. And you know, a pistol shoots different powder like unique or tightwad, where Varget for 308 and 223 is just
okay. So let's give it $100 for powder.
Yep, and then you got your primers, which are impossible to get right now. But you know, I was down a brick of primers that used to be pre-COVID, roughly $40. You're going to easily spend $90 to $120 depending on what you pick.
Okay.
For 1,000 individual primers. So if I show you a brick of primers, so here's a brick of primers right here.
Right, and this is and it's a different primer, I'm guessing, from the 223 to the we're gonna need two bricks of primers.
Yeah, you can see this one is for a small rifle. Well, they make large rifle. They make small pistol, large pistol, and I can crack this open. I can try and get this in the picture. And there's one sleeve of 100 in here. And in this sleeve, I can kind of show you, hopefully, without spilling a bunch of primers.
Right.
But you can see there's 100 primers in here. And each one of these pre-COVID used to cost 3 cents. Okay. Well, now 1,000 is costing you $80 to $120 for a brick of 1,000. Wow. Well, that's pretty quick math to figure out how much it's costing for primer. Pre-COVID, it was 3 cents every time you pull it.
So should we add should we say $240 or something for a primer?
Well, let's just say you start out with a pound of powder. Okay, that's going to cost you, we'll just say $60. A brick of primers right now, after COVID, is going to cost you roughly $90.
Okay.
So.
All right. So primers, and then we need bullets, right?
Yep, and that is way, like, if you pick 223 or if you're doing 375 Shy-Tac, you know, no joke, every time you pull the trigger at 375 Shy-Tac, you're going into your billfold taking out over $5 or $6 compared to like a 223. You know, it's a fraction of that. So rule of thumb is if prices are somewhat normal, the reload is half the price of factory. That's a rule of thumb, but it just depends on what you do. Like,
what should we throw in here for our budget on buying bullets then, you think? For some, like, we got to buy 9mm and we got to buy 223.
Yeah, this is just to get started, by the way. So, you know, you get a box of bullets, maybe a couple boxes of different bullets so you can test them out. You might be $80 to $100 here.
For one box of bullets, not for both.
A couple boxes so you can test them out.
So about $180, right? Okay, so
about 100 for just depends on what you're. Like I said, if you're doing 223 or 375 Shy-Tac, the bullet price difference is astronomically different.
Asper Warrior says, sounds like I could reload a lot cheaper by trading eggs to someone who already reloads.
And then you need brass, obviously. The brass is the other thing. And that's where sometimes it's free. That's why I recommend if you go to the range, you're looking down. Man, there's not a time when I go to the range, I'm not picking brass up off the ground. And that's like finding gold on the ground, literally right now. And especially when times are good, you still pick up brass for bad times. So
I remember when I started shooting, especially here on my own range, there was a guy that used to come here to the range and just like pick up the brass. I haven't seen him for a while. I don't know if he moved or whatever. I mean, I was happy for it just because, you know, we were like, because, you know, there's a lot of brass on the ground here. So I guess, we got to start collecting that.
And straight walled pistol brass, you can shoot an astronomical amount of times. Like no joke, you don't even keep track of it 30, 40 times. Straight walled pistol brass, so it's not bottleneck like a rifle. Okay. You can shoot a lot of times. Now, when it comes to the bottleneck rifle cartridges, you really got to pay the attention to the amount of firings on that brass because you can get what's called case head separation, and that the head of that case can literally separate from the base of the brass, and it can be really dangerous. So when you're picking that brass off the ground, I'm not so much concerned about pistol brass. But when it comes to rifle brass, you don't know how many fires are on that brass. A reloader could have came in there just like me and knew it was on its last leg and just let it lay on the ground. But a good rule of thumb is if you pick rifle brass off the ground, you can always inspect the primer. Usually, more times than not, in factory ammunition, they'll put primer sealer on the primer. It almost looks like someone took nail polish to the primer. And it's a good indication that it's been fired only once and it's from a factory new. Not saying someone that reloads couldn't put primer sealer on it, but it's usually a good indication that it's brand new.
Okay, cool. All right, so just so we can get this done here before we go to the next segment, is that everything we need to buy? Now we could go reload?
No, so there's little knick-knack things like trays. Obviously, we sell our tray. Our tray is, I would consider a premium tray.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's $100, but you can easily buy a plastic tray or make your own out of a block of wood, just drilling holes in it just to hold your cartridges while you reload it. And here's the plastic trays here.
So what's a plastic tray cost? Like $10,
$20. If you want a premium one like ours. Well, this is a good point. Like ours might cost $100, but I only have to buy one tray for everything. Say like I'm reloading for 5 different cartridges, and one of these trays costs $20, and I got to buy 5 of them. Well, it's the same price of this, but I only got one on my bench.
Yeah.
So, and this is by far more. Obviously, I'm not being biased, but it's superior for reporting.
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah, we're going to talk about that here in the next segment. What other things do we need? I see 42 Chill says books on reloading your press. So what are the books going to cost?
If you're doing rifle, you need a brass trimmer. A brass trimmer be for every cartridge. It can easily be $80 per cartridge.
Okay.
So you need for rifle. You don't trim pistol brass usually.
Okay, so $180 or $80?
It depends on how many cartridges. If you start with one cartridge, it can be roughly $80 to trim it. You can get hand trimmers, but I highly recommend not doing any brass work by hand because you're going to get old arthritis hands and hate yourself. And you also need a case prep center. That's probably going to be another. I would recommend getting some of the Lyman case prep center for it's about $120. And there's all these just little knick-knack things like calipers, funnels. So if you get
for knickknacks, let's add $100. Let's add $100 for knickknacks. Let's add $100 for knickknacks here. And books. Books and all that.
You name it.
Yeah, we're at $2,500 already, right?
So
that's just to get started. That you can actually, which is not really bad if you think about it, because after that you're just buying the components that you need. You don't need to buy your press and all that all over again. But
you're always gonna have that guy out there that's like, you could start with a kit, which you 100% can. It just like anything in this world, you get into motorcycles, and you can buy the entry level or buy the premium. It just depends on how far down the rabbit hole you want to get. But I tell you right now, with a kit, at least I've found through numerous guys, they end up throwing half of it away. And they, I always say this: buy the best that you can afford.
Yeah, I think that. Listen, to me, $2,500 is not too bad. You're to go back in there and do, even if you wanted to switch in different calibers, is not going to be expensive. I know that Asper Warrior was talking about the chicken thing. Look, if your friend for a friend of yours to set up and start kicking out eggs, he's got to buy chickens, get a chicken coop. He's got to feed those chickens. He's got to protect them because there'll be coyotes going after them, all that kind of stuff. He's got to figure out how that works, right? There's a whole bunch of stuff involved in that too. Might not be as expensive as this, but anything that you do costs some money, and I think it's not a bad idea to do at all, because you get to have the independence of being able to reload yourself. You know what? We're gonna take a quick break and we're gonna come back because it's gonna cut off.
Okay.
The Who Moved My Freedom podcast is made possible by our partners at 2A Commerce. Veteran-owned and with over 20 years' experience, 2A Commerce is the leader in custom e-commerce and web application development in the shooting sports industry.
Clients include major brands such as Guard Dog Body Armor, Sylvan Arms, AccuFire Technologies, The Tactical Games, Warrior Knife Company, and yours truly, Hank Strange. Visit 2A Commerce and support this show by supporting them. Once again, visit the number 2acommerce.com.
Okay, sorry about that, Todd. I wound up cutting you off there. So, okay, we could be looking at $2,500. What's your idea for this? What's some ways people could save money? I see people in the chat saying get a friend, like some old guy who does reload and get stuff from him. You can go on YouTube. Oh, here we go, YouTube.
Yeah, let me just show you something here quick. This is what I advise doing. So if you go to EP Integrations, to the playlist area of the EP Integrations YouTube channel, we have a complete start to finish reloading series on how to reload for a rifle. If you go to Elfster's Rifles and Reload, I have a complete series of how to reload for pistol. Now, what I recommend doing is not only are you going to watch these videos to learn how to reload, but while you watch it, grab a piece of paper and a pen and watch me do the process. You're like, okay, I see he's using a press. I need a press, number one. Oh, I see he's decapping primers. I need a decapper. Oh, I see he needs to clean the brass now, so I need some means of cleaning it. I write that down. I also see that he needs to dry the brass now, so I need some means of drying it. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
So not only are you learning the process from start to finish, but you're also writing down a list of what you think you need to purchase depending on which rabbit hole you want to jump down, or which money rabbit hole you want to jump down. And you're learning at the same time, and you're combining all that together along with reloading manuals. Jump on very knowledgeable websites that have reloading forums like Sniper's Hide, AccurateShooter.com, and you're combining all the information. Hopefully you got a friend, you can go over his house, sit down with him, he can help you reload. And if I said this before, I'll say it again, it's all about starting your own journey, and you're learning as you go through that journey and creating your own setup from what you've learned.
Yeah, anything you get into has startup costs. 42 Chill says Elfster has good videos. That's why he's here. He's a very knowledgeable guy. So, and then there are some ways before we go, because I do want to cover before we get out of here the stuff that you're making. But there are some ways that people can save money, right? You've got let's see. What did I see people say here? Go to look for deals, gun shows. You can probably get some auctions, garage sales. What's your ideas to save some money on some of these components?
Well, right out of the gate, when it comes to components, the number one thing you can save is obviously picking up range prick brass. Just be careful when you're picking up range prick brass, especially your bottleneck rifle cartridges. That's not been overshot. Pistol cartridges, you don't have to worry about so much, but obviously keeping an eye out for deals. Not pushing my own channel, but I do push, but post affiliate links on there that have promo codes so you can save money on primer, brass, powder bullets, whatever other deals. And obviously me, but also check out Hank Strange looking for his deals. But
100% check out Elfster's stuff. He's the guy who's gonna know the stuff about this. Trust me on that. Go to his stuff. You don't have to push me. I want to make sure people realize that you're a great resource for this. That's why I'm asking you all these questions. So.
Yeah, gun shows are great, and I'm not knocking on gun shows, but man, it's really hard to beat the power of the internet. Usually Barnauls is one of my go-to places for finding components, especially with the promo codes. Not hard to find those promo codes at all. Other places like Mid-South Shooters, Notches Reloading Supply, Midway USA, just some of the few, and some of the best deals I actually find locally at my local Shields. I actually had the most luck trying to find hard to find components such as primer and powders for sure, even bullets. I've actually had more luck at Shields than anyone else.
What's Shields? Is that like a my camera's
they're like the Cabela's.
Okay.
Yeah, they're kind of like the Cabela's, but depending on where you're located.
Oh, okay.
I just absolutely love Shields, though, man. They actually match online pricing. Whether it comes to guns or components, they typically match online, which is a really amazing aspect of going to Shields.
Okay, cool. Okay. Do you ever buy used stuff? Do you there like groups and things like that you're in that people sell stuff, or maybe someone
Yeah,
passes on, and then everyone's
the
like, "Oh, I
state
know he's
sales,
good."
I was just
Okay.
gonna say that. Like a state
Mm-hmm.
salesman, you can usually jump on Facebook and they might have a state sale, whether or not the guy might be getting out of reloading and they got a ton of. But I've seen that, man. I've literally seen a state sales where like, holy smokes, some of the stuff they're giving away is unbelievable. But like I said, your best bet is just keeping an eye online, especially for those components that are super hard to get.
Mm-hmm.
Like Powder Valley is another good one for trying to find hard to get powder.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's all about the components. The products that you need to reload from presses or whatnot are pretty easy to get. For a while, their presses were actually really hard to get. Like you couldn't get a coax press or any press of that nature during the height of COVID, but they're pretty easy to get right now. So,
Yeah.
but if I was somebody, Barnauls with the promo codes is pretty freaking hard to beat.
Yeah. So 42 Chill says hazmat costs when ordering online unless you order big. So is there like extra charges for hazmat type of stuff?
Right. So if you buy anything like primers and powder, there is hazmat. But that's where I think with Barnauls and the promo codes kind of offset some of that expense. Really helps. Obviously, if you buy in bulk, if you know, hey man, this powder shoots great out of this particular rifle. If you can get 8-pound jugs rather than 1-pound jugs, you might get an extra pound for free out of that 8, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And then obviously primers, but they're pretty hard to get right now. But pre-COVID, you might save a little bit. It's usually on the powders where you're really going to save buying in bulk.
Okay.
Even bullets. So.
Okay, so last question on this, and then we're moving on. How much space do you need? Because that's a thing a guy has to consider here, right? How much space, and where do you set all this up? Obviously, you've got your space here.
Right. I would say the minimum is about a 4-foot bench. I've seen guys do smaller. Matter of fact, a lot of these guys reload on the fly when they're out in competition, literally in their hotel room. I've seen it.
I've seen it too, man. I've got pictures somewhere of folks doing that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I would say for your own home bench, the smallest you're going to want to do is probably 4 feet. This one here is an 8-foot bench. I've actually got a whole other room that I was going to make into a whole new reloading bench or reloading room, but that's a whole other story. But, comfortably, if you can get a 6-foot-8 bench, that's pretty good. This is 8 feet, and you can see it's pretty crowded. I would say I'm more than your average reloader, though, too. So it just depends on how many cartridges you're going to reload. Or if you're jumping down the annealer process, you need room for an annealer. I got 2 presses. I never thought I'd have more than one. I actually have 2. Here's another rule of thumb, though. Whatever bench you get, you're usually going to want to mount it to the wall. You don't want that thing moving while you're cranking down on this handle. You put a lot of force on this handle, and some of these casings have gunpowder in it. And if that bench is shaking and rocking around and that gunpowder is spilling out of that case mouth opening, you don't want that. So that bench has got to be rock solid, and this is literally lag screwed right to the wall.
Okay. Okay, so you really don't need that big of a space. So you can probably find some room in your gun space, garage, or whatever you got.
Right, and some guys, I've no joke seeing benches so small, it looks like they're reloading on their nightstand damn near. But I would say comfortably, just starting out, 1 or 2 cartridges, minimum 4 foot. But I would, if you can, start with at least 8 foot of bench.
Okay, all right, cool. All right, awesome.
Another thing too is I recommend kitchen countertop as a benchtop surface. It's almost indestructible. I can literally take a black magic marker right across this thing and wipe it off a brake cleaner. Try doing that with a wood polyurethane benchtop I've seen some of these guys make. It's not going to happen.
Okay, so what kind of kitchen countertop is that? Is that like
same kitchen countertop that's in the kitchen? I mean, it's literally. I went to Home Depot. Got a pre-cut 8-foot chunk of kitchen countertop.
It's not marble or anything like that. It's just your regular run-of-the-mill.
Just a Formica top with a particle board bottom. Then it's got a 3/4-inch gap on the bottom. I reinforced the bottom with another layer of 3/4 plywood, and I glued and screwed that together to make this rigid. And then they sold these adjustable bench frames here that you can adjust from 4 foot to 8 feet. You just expand it and put the lag screws through, and then I screwed up through that rail up into the bench top surface.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, very cool. Yeah. All right. So now what I want to do in the time that we have left here is talk a little bit about what what the company is making. So tell us about the company. I know you mentioned it a little bit, but tell us like how you started making your own stuff and what you guys are making exactly.
Sure. So just kind of touch base on annealing. There's three types of annealing, typically. The big three is, the big one is flame-based annealing, where you're literally using a blowtorch and a torch head, and it's producing a flame. That's flame-based annealing. That's probably the biggest one of all three. The other one is induction annealing, and then there's also salt bath annealing, where you're literally melting salt into a molten form, and it is over 900 degrees, and it's super dangerous. Unless you like playing around with little micro volcanoes, I don't recommend doing that. A lot of guys do it, but I don't recommend doing it. So, in my opinion, the big two are flame-based annealers and induction annealers.
Okay.
There's a ton of flame-based annealers out there. Obviously, ours is one. What I, try not to be biased, but there's a reason why Scott Peterson or myself designed the EP 2.0 annealer. It adjusts from the smallest of casings, 17 Hornet, up to 50 BMG, and it adjusts in literally 30 seconds or less without having to add or remove any parts. We have a patent on this, a patent pending on this.
Okay.
And that's what makes us really shine.
Can we see it up close one more time, if you don't mind?
Yeah. Sure. And just to kind of give you an idea, I don't know if that is coming through or not.
Yeah, that's good. We can see.
But this is 300 blackout, so I can actually run 300 blackout through this. So just to give you an idea of how this works. So there's a flame here, and what an annealer does is it precisely gets a piece of brass in and out of the flame at a precise amount of time.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And that's what you're heating up the neck to recrystallize the brass to a softened state, so you can get more longevity out of it, more consistent head space bumps.
So that space of time is always the same space of time, or you're setting a number on your machine there and then it's changing?
There's different things, and I actually have a full series on EP integrations showing you not only how to use this, but why you use it. But just to go, this was 300 blackout. So just to show you how this adjusts, this is called the shim plate. You screw this in. This is 223. This is called the brass stopper. So this is what makes the EP integrations shine, is you don't have to add or remove any parts to go from casing to casing. And here's the adjustable fence here. And now I just went from 300 blackout to a 223. So you can see now it drops 223. I'll let this cycle, and I can shut this off, and now I can go to 300 blackout. So let me put 300 blackout in here. So you can see I can just keep, the longer the casing it gets, the more I'm screwing in this, what's called the adjustable shim plate.
Oh, that you're moving it down.
And I'm just seeing three things here: the shim plate, the brass stopper, and the fence.
Okay.
And now I'm on to 308. So you can see I'm now doing 308, and if I can do anything, rimmed, no rim, all the way up to 50 BMG, and I'll show you. Even with 50 BMG, I just let this thing screw all the way home. And this is called, there's a wing nut here, and then I just adjust this fence. And here's an actual 50 BMG casing. So now I just, within seconds, went from 308 to 50 BMG.
Wow.
And no problem. I'll let that drop again. So 17 Hornet to 50 BMG. When we say 17 Hornet, it's a dinky casing. I don't know, for $268, it's pretty hard to beat. So.
Yeah. So we've got. I noticed that. By the way, I just noticed that John Crump just jumped into the chat there. So shout out to our friend John Crump of Ammoland, GOA. John Crump News, all kinds of crazy stuff that Crump has going on. I think he's breaking some news. I don't know if he can come on and talk about it before we get out of here, but I think he's saying that there was like a data breach at SB Tactical. So He's got the specific details. I don't want to get deep into that. If he comes on, he might tell us what he knows right now. Otherwise, I would suggest you guys go look at John Crump Live or John Crump News. One of those should have the info. But yeah, apparently there's been a data breach there. Let me see what he says here in the text that I'm looking at. September 19th to December 13th, there was a data breach. Credit card numbers, CVV addresses, names, expiration dates, etc. So he says he's getting his kids ready for bed, but you guys will probably be seeing more of that coming out in the next several hours, days, etc. from John Crump. So just be on the lookout for that. So, yeah. I don't think he's going to be able to come on from what I see him saying here, so I don't know if you have any comment on that. I know I'm just finding out about it, and so are you. So,
well, didn't 80% lowers or something just file a lawsuit against the ATF? I mean, it's pretty big.
Yeah,
deal
I think Polymer 80. Yeah, they just I saw
and they're
that.
basing that off the bump stock that went through the lower courts underneath the Supreme Court there, because
Yeah,
I'm not totally sure that.
yeah, I think Crump has some news on this, as well as I know I was looking at Guns and Gadgets, had something about it. Basically the ATF is changing the rules and all that kind of stuff and classifications and trying to put them out of business. But basically people in America have the right to make their own firearms. So reclassifying and going after these guys and going after Polymer 80 specifically and all that, in my opinion, is not a good idea. So I know that they did file some lawsuits. We'll have to see what happens with that. I wish them success on that, because all this stuff going on is a lot of nonsense out there. With SB Tactical, I don't really know what to think about that right now.
On the bump stocks is going to be heaven sent, not only for bump stocks, but for braces, 80% lowers. I mean, it just tells the ATF that you can't be some fiat bureaucracy and just make laws when laws are obviously made by the legislative branch. And it has to go through a process. You just don't willy-nilly just make up your own laws. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think we need some success with that. And I think also what everyone saw going on in Congress last week, with these guys holding out to change the rules, I'm all for what those guys were doing. And I think we'll see in the next year to 2 years here where it comes into play, because Congress can put pressure on these places. I know one of the things I think Congress is already attempting to do is to pull the funding for all these extra IRS agents. Well, in the works, there's funding for extra ATF agents and all that kind of stuff. And I'd like to see, Congress actually put pressure on these guys and get them to back off, because basically they're using these big, alphabet companies to harass American citizens. And a lot of this, all of it, to me, is a violation of the Constitution. So we need to see that kind of pressure coming from Congress. People need to sue the folks out there. We need to push back on all of it. So, yeah.
Well, I think our race is coming from the fact that we marginally have power of the House now, and we have the Speaker of the House. So hopefully he can come through for us. But it's all those little subcommittees within the House that have some, checks and balances to hopefully keep places like the ATF in line,
we need it, man. Yeah, we need it. We also need them to take a look at the social media platforms here. I think we saw from Elon Musk buying Twitter and the stuff that he's been putting out there, that these platforms have been misused, and they also need some checks and balances, especially because they enjoy protections that we the people gave to them. And, there needs to be checks and balances on them, because they're definitely violating our First Amendment rights when they're telling us that we can't talk about or show things that, basically rights that we have from the Second Amendment, right?
Yeah,
that's
100%.
crazy.
They're just trying to silence our voice. And if it comes to, just like Mr. Guns and Gears is going through right now, shutting down his channel, like me and my page has really been taken down 4 times, put back up. And, obviously, everything about that. It never ends. And
Yeah.
if you don't do something about it, I mean, it's just going to continue and it'll get worse.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you know what? It seems like no one really gives two craps unless it happens to them. But they don't realize that when they're suppressing your voice on social media, those are the guys at the tip of the spear. They're protecting your rights.
Yeah.
And 100%, if those guys are able to get shut down, you're not going to have any voice at all, because if they can do that to the channel that you're trying to watch and learn from,
They could do it to
that
you.
can happen to you.
Yeah,
Yep.
it'll always come back around to you. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back here and wrap up.
We wouldn't be able to keep the Who Moved My Freedom podcast going without the support of manufacturers like Safety Harbor Firearms. SHF is a quintessential family-owned small business, totally representative of the American dream. Safety Harbor Firearms is a Florida-based manufacturer of the compact entry stock and the SHTF 50 upper for an AR-15 lower. Also, SHF happily delivers on your Sten gun parts needs. So don't forget to check out stenparts.com and safetyharborfirearms.com.
All right, so as we come back here, speaking of Safety Harbor Firearms, I just want to show you, this is actually the thumbnail for yesterday's episode that's up on Utreon and it's up on YouTube as well. I just wanted to show you this because if you're going to SHOT Show, Walter is going to have these cool new patches. You know, SHTF 50 patches. One is with a gnome and one is with some kind of beaver type creature that looks familiar, but I'm not going to say what I think it is. So that's from episode 957. And if you're going to go to SHOT Show, he's going to have those there. Are you going to SHOT Show, Todd?
Well, I tell you, in 2020, right when COVID hit, no one knew it was COVID. I got so flipping sick, and I got ungodly sick. And I even talked to you, I think, about, hey, man, it's the first time at SHOT Show, which I give some advice. You're like, well, just expect to get sick. They have what's called the SHOT Show crud. And I got super sick. I'm like, holy Christ, if this is the SHOT Show crud, I don't ever want to go. So, I mean, and I was hating, like, washing my hands with, you know, cleaner. And, like, before I eat, I was cleaning my hands with, like, I don't know, it was ridiculous. And I was flying home on the plane, and every other person was coughing, hacking, and wheezing. And I got home, and I called my woman. I'm like, man, if I'm not sick by the time I get home, I'll be amazed. And sure enough, I got deathly sick. And I mean, obviously, I went through rounds of cancer. And matter of fact, I just hit my 5th year in remission.
Congratulations, man.
I got so ungodly sick. And then the second round of COVID, Delta was even worse. I actually ended up in the hospital with COVID pneumonia. And then not even 2 weeks after I got out, my sister got it and she passed. And I was just like, I just don't know if I can do that right now. And I do plan on going back. I just will know when the time's right, I guess. So I don't know. It's not in my cards right now, but I do plan on going back. But once again, I plan on getting sick again too. So
yeah, your your Instagram channel, it can always be worse. It could always be worse.
Right.
Your Instagram is Elfsters_rifles and reloading, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So here I'm putting. I think. Do you have a backup one?
No, not on Instagram. To be honest with you, I don't really do much on Instagram. I do have EP integrations on Instagram, but most of my stuff is usually done on Facebook. We have both EP integrations and Elfsters Rifles Reloading on Facebook
integrations.
EP and then integrations.
Okay.
So
integrations, if I spell it right. Nope, I didn't spell it right. Because of my fat thumbs. Let's see. I'll see if it comes up. No, I don't know if that's... Is it an underscore? Oh, wait, it might be this, whatever this is. No, shooting daily. That's someone maybe who tagged you or something. Okay, I'll find it. You guys can look out there and find it. I saw somewhere on social media, man, you had like a zipper in your back, man. That's crazy. I think Lola was showing that to me. Yeah.
Yeah, most people don't know this, but I went through a nasty round of cancer, and I had a tumor on my spinal cord. This is a 3D mock-up of it. So to give you an idea, I don't know, whatever. You can see the size of my hand and how
Yeah,
big the
that's
tumor was on
huge.
my
That's baseball
C6 and
size.
C7.
Yeah.
And it was infecting it was not infecting, but intruding on my spinal cord. And this,
Wow.
I had to go to Mayo and Rochester to get this removed. They couldn't do it really anywhere else because they had to get the experts in there.
Mm-hmm.
And they did this 3D mock-up, and they did a whole resection, and they had to remove half my spinal column, and then fuse my vertebrae with 2 8-inch titanium bars with 12 screws, and then I had to do the whole 21 rounds of proton treatments before, and 45 rounds of proton treatments after, and you literally get a face mask over your face, and you're strapped down for an hour, 42 times a shot. And I could go on and on, but
I know.
it really opened eyes of what's important and not important. Like, really, you get up in the morning and stop your bitching, and you learn what's important and not important. And to be honest with you, I stayed at Hope Lodge in Rochester. I seen a lot of people that had a heck of a lot worse than I did, and especially little kids and parents in tow on the gurney. And even I stopped my bitching. I'm like, man, if I get through this, it was really tough. So,
yeah, it was tough, man. I know Lola was showing me that zipper on your back, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's pretty much, I wouldn't say my whole back, but it's over 2 feet long, I think. But they literally had to open it up and stuck over a half-inch of flesh around it, remove half my spinal column. And then when my spinal cord was exposed, they put a radiated piece of plastic over it to kill off the whatever. I mean, it was a year of hell. I said, it gives you a whole new perspective on people who go through cancer, how much it sucks.
Absolutely, man. When I was a younger man, probably half the age that I am now, I got Crohn's, and I wound up having to get like a resection here in my stomach, and it goes from like, right under my rib cage down, and I thought that was bad, but yeah, there's always worse things out there. But we're here, man. If we're here, we can kick ass.
Right. Yeah. When I got out of that too, I couldn't even move my right arm, and the doctor's like, well, either it's going to come back or not. And it literally took 3 years, a year just to do this. And I was worried I would never pull a trigger again.
Wow. Okay.
I'm
glad to see you're here, man, and I'm glad that we we got you back here on the show. What I'm going to do here before we get out of here is I'm going to give you a chance to tell the folks out there, where can they find you, how can they communicate with you, support you, etc. Go for it.
So I will say I got my main channel, Elfster's Rifles and Reloading. I got my YouTube channel. That's probably the big one. But I also have Facebook, Instagram. I am on Twitter, but I'm really not on there that much, to be honest with you. Then I'll say the business aspect of it. And the EP Integrations is just not me. It's my business partner, Scott Peterson, which is my good friend and neighbor. I view him more of a friend than as a neighbor. And we really work great together. And that's where the EP comes from. My last name is Elfers. His is Peterson's EP Integration. We've been right out of the gate. We've been doing amazing. We can't make these annealers fast enough, especially with these reloading blocks. It's going really, really well. Obviously, our main website with EP Integrations, which is www.epintegrations.com. You can buy online there. We got pictures, videos, you name it. Our email is epintegrations@hotmail.com, and no joke, we usually reply within the hour, if not within minutes. And we back up our product. If you have any issues, you send us an email. We will take care of you guys. We also have our Facebook page and Instagram for EP Integrations also.
All right, awesome. And let me just take this opportunity to remind people that they can use the code HankStrange at EP Integrations and save 5%. And that's from today, from the 10th. Today is January 10th. Your birthday. Happy birthday. To the 17th of January. You guys can save 5% on there using the code HankStrange. I also want to remind everyone that next week we're going to be at the Tampa RV Super Show. That's like the biggest RV show in the country. And, they've got Class A's all the way down to trailers and stuff like that. I do Class B's. That's what I'm in now. I'm actually in my van, Todd. I have a Class B van.
Yeah, I actually started a whole other channel.
You too,
Todd
yeah.
Elfster,
Yeah.
Which I'm going to do nothing but my cargo trailer conversion, converting a cargo trailer into a camper.
Yeah, absolutely. And where can people find that stuff if they want to see that?
That's just on YouTube. It's literally my name, Todd, Todd, Elfers, ELFERS.
Right.
And I just started it, but it's going to be a pretty serious deal. It's going to be literally everything out of my gun world and reloading world. From campers to electronics to cameras, computers, everything I have interest in above and beyond reloading and guns.
Okay, awesome. Cool. There you go. So big thanks for coming on. I'm going to run in the end, and then we're going to come back, and you're going to give some words of wisdom. So I'm giving you a little chance here to think of what kind of, wisdom you want to drop on the folks out there. But I really do appreciate you taking this time and coming on and giving us all this good advice. And I would really encourage the folks out there, if you're into reloading, you seek out Todd Elfster's Rifles and Reloading, as well as EP Integrations. They've got lots of good stuff going on there that I think you guys are going to appreciate. And I'm going to run in the end. Stay right there, Todd, and we're going to come back with the words of wisdom. All right, guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate that. We're going to rip the audio out of this and throw it up on all your favorite places to get your audio podcast from. You can also go to hankstrange.com and get it. You can now get it from Audible as well. Lots of places out there that you can get the podcast from. We are approaching 1,000 episodes here. So big thanks to everyone out there that supported us over the years. We really appreciate you guys. Todd, words of wisdom, sir.
Well, honestly, I would just explain all the BS I went through about 5 years ago. And when you go through something like that, you really learn to appreciate what's important and what's not important. And if I could get any words of wisdom, treat every day like it's literally your last and make it special. And your friends and family, especially the ones you love, is the most cherished thing you could ask God for. And you never know when your last day is going to literally be your last, and make every day like it's your last.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Todd. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys. I believe we're coming back tomorrow and doing another show tomorrow, so we'll see you guys then. Big thanks to everyone out there. Let me press the buttons and end this right now.